Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé, let's watch. As I always say, everything that I say is completely speculative based on very little information that the cast members show the camera people and the camera people edit for us. So we can only speculate. Keep that in mind. Let's watch.
You can get back to what makes you enjoy doing and what makes you happy.
Yeah. And Tammy is gonna come too, or she's just gonna stay here forever?
Why are you gonna pay my ticket?
Why pay your own ticket? You're old enough to do your own ticket. Just opinion.
All right, so Tammy has been saying all these snide remarks, referring to how rich they are, which of course is a passive-aggressive, or I don't know, we'll often call this passive-aggressive, but I actually don't like to call it passive-aggressive because it's not very hidden. It's pretty obvious what she's saying. It's just on the passive side of hostility, but it's definitely hostile and received as hostile. True, or at least in the psychological, psychiatric sense, passive aggression is not usually understood by the recipient. They don't usually receive it as hostility or aggression. They usually receive it as something different. It's truly hidden. Like a common example I say is that a spouse will cheat on someone as a way of passively, aggressively, or in a hidden hostile manner getting back at their spouse, even though their spouse never finds out that they're cheating. That's how hidden the aggression is. But anyway, so she's been saying a lot of things that are under her breath, or these, what do I say, nuance or innuendos would be a good word for it, maybe, of that he isn't paying his due to the parents. The mom, the grandma, keeps telling Tammy to calm down, be a good girl, knock it off. So Tammy's on her own here. She has no support, and she is doing this. Why would she do that? I don't know. I've been hypothesizing that she's jealous, that she is the guard dog of the family, and she's actually speaking for other people that aren't going to speak up for themselves, that there's a lot of stress in the family that we don't know about, that she's always been jealous of Asuelu, and this is just the next iteration of that the parents never gave her or maybe any of the kids enough love and attention, and so she feels like she's in a constant state of competition and is trying to win favor to gain that love and attention finally. I don't know. Or she's just characterologically a jerkface. I don't know. Let's watch.
I still want to say something to my son and Kalani. I'm grow older now, so I need money from you when I go back to Samoa.
All right, so the mom is bringing this topic up yet again at Christmas dinner. And I understand that it is potentially the cultural norm. To my Seattle cultural mainstream self, it's hard for me to watch this. It's really cringy. It'd be more polite to pull Asuelu aside by himself and just say, hey, I wanted to talk with you about something. So let's see what happens here.
You give the money to me and God bless you. You think about that.
So God will only bless them if they give you money?
Mm-hmm.
And why would the mom be so adamant for so long about this? Given her emotionality about it, I suspect one of two things. One is that she has a lot of traumas in her life and is in a constant state of feeling like she's being neglected and abandoned, and is looking for some concrete example as to the fact that Asuelu still loves her, because she's going to miss her son. She's going to go back to Samoa. She's not going to see her son anymore, or at least very often. And she feels chronically neglected and alone, and is just looking for some evidence that he loves her. And if he gives her money, then it kind of does mean not that he loves her, but that he is loyal to her more so than his family, his wife and kids. So that's one hypothesis. Another hypothesis is that they're really, really struggling actually with money, and it's a pretty desperate situation for them. If that were the case, then I would think she would speak up about that. Like, I have cancer and I can't pay for my medical bills in Samoa if you do not give me that money. Or we don't have electricity, or I don't know, something, but we're not hearing that. Or the mom is just exhibiting her cultural, belief, which is that good boys send money home, particularly when they come from such abundance compared to where we are. Now, I don't know where Asuelu and Kalani have come to at this point, because it's been a while since they've had to visit this topic. It might be actually right now to the point where they've agreed together that they can't afford to give her more money. I'm guessing not, though. We have seen up until this point Asuelu hold the line very, very well. He has been extremely loyal to Kalani. He has not thrown Kalani under the bus. He has stood up to his family. He has acted like an adult. He has been an adult when he is, in other situations, prone to act like a child and to blame Kalani. From my memory, he has not done that over the span of, I think, 2 seasons now of this. So let's see what he does.
I think one of the wildest parts about sitting with them and talking to them is everything always comes back to money. Everything's always about money, how much they can get from them. And it seems to me like they just look at children as cash machines. The whole thing is just weird and gross to me.
And for the family, they are half Samoan. Now, they're Americanized. They grew up in the United States. So there's that. But if anyone would kind of understand it, you would think it would be them. And they are also saying, look, this is a little over the top. And some of you have commented below that, yes, this is a cultural difference between mainstream American culture and Samoan culture. And I've also seen it in other Pacific Islanders and in also the Philippines as well. But some also are saying that this family is taking it too far.
That we don't want you giving money to everybody else. Like if we give you money for you, then we would want you to have it.
Asuelu, you need to understand, when you give the money to your parents, from your heart to give it to them. Not for us to question our parents. Where are you going to use the money or spend the money or keep the money to?
Yeah, that might actually be a cultural element of Samoan culture is children respect their parents. They don't question their parents in this way. But it might also be a cultural expectation that you don't put so much pressure on the kids, that it's important that kids give to their parents, but that the emotional pressure that Tammy particularly has been putting on Asuelu is too much. So, but I think the mom is struggling, and Tammy reacts with anger. And I wonder if, and I said this before, my hypothesis about Tammy's anger is that she's actually the guard dog of the family. She was elected by the family to protect the mom. From what I understand, Tammy's always lived nearby or even with the mom, and maybe Tammy fought against the father and with violent, maybe the father was violent, who knows, or some other kind of threat to the family and to the mom. And Tammy was elected as the person that would notice and predict the mom's pain, and she would fight for her because she wants to be a good daughter. So Tammy's behavior might be a result of the mom putting emotional pressure on Tammy to do this. I don't know, though, but you can at the very least, you can sense the pain in the mom's demeanor.
No.
I since growing up, our mom always give money to the church and things, and we're not eating a nice food, and those people eating good food. We only eat taro or rice because mom is like to give all the money to the pastor or give to other people.
Interesting. So we haven't talked about this before. Asuelu is saying that mom would always give all of our money or a lot of the money to the church while we were living in extreme poverty. And I just don't think that that is right. That's interesting. I wonder if they're going to have an in-depth conversation around this. I'm guessing Tammy's just going to start yelling, and then it'll just degrade into that.
Yeah, but my point is, when you send the money, means it goes straight to your parents. You don't question them.
I think giving is important, but I think you guys expect it, and the way you not even ask for it, but demand it from him is the issue.
Right. That's what a lot of people from Samoa in the comments section will say is asking is fine, but the demanding, that's what's wrong.
He's still acting like that little boy when he was in Samoa. feel like I can trust my brother because how can he pay that house, that big house? How if he's not able to help our family back home? So he has money. I know he has money, but he just don't want to help our family at all.
Interesting that she sees him standing up to her as evidence that he's still a boy. Because I think all of us watching, correct me if I'm wrong, would see this as him acting like a man. And to act like a boy would be to give into that. But that's just my cultural understanding or cultural take on the situation.
When are you going to help her?
So you want me to send money now so you guys will feel better and my kids will be starving and you guys don't care about that? No. Just cross the line.
Well, we don't know the budget, but I think we're pretty clear that they are living, paycheck to paycheck or just beyond that. Yeah, they're, I think, renting a house, but at the very least, they're not rich. They don't have a ton of extra income to throw around at all. So, but he's drawing the line. He's like, no. And so I'm going to commend everyone at this point. Because in the past, they all would get heated and threaten violence, potentially, like Tammy. But they're not doing that. So it's interesting if they would have started like this, I wonder if things would have been better. Because when they do this, it reminds you of all that unreasonableness and the threats and the violent threats. And you just don't want to give into it. So I wonder if the mom and Tammy had started with, this is still demanding and pressured, but it's way less than it was before.
Let's go.
Oh, wow. Good touch. I loved the toilet paper. That was a good 2020 nod.
I got a spam.
I want the spam.
She's next.
So as a Japanese American, of course, I love my Spam and my Spam musubi. And do people in Samoa also love Spam? I know Hawaii does, of course, but let me know in the comments because if you do, then we are kin.
Ay, ay, ay. Wow. It's a fake lottery ticket, yes.
Good call, baby.
It's my pleasure to give you all the white elephant present.
So they called it a white elephant exchange, but it was just Asuelu giving a bunch of people white elephant gifts. There's a funner way to do that. But, I guess that's one way to do it. You just get a bunch of silly gifts and everyone gets a silly gift. Now, of course, they're going to get upset because they're like, where's the money?
Ew.
Oh, what's that?
Wow.
It's a baby blanket.
Baby blanket. Wow.
I want to have a big family, so hopefully my wife will make my dreams come true.
So hopefully Kalani is just like, okay, I get it. You want to have another kid. I don't want to have, because I'm pretty sure she doesn't, right? And they can just, let it go and they can have a conversation later. So let's see what happens.
Talk about in front of other people. I gave you my answer, and I don't want to keep being pressured into having a baby.
Why are you so upset, Kalani?
I don't want him to keep pressuring me into doing something that I don't want to do.
So, Kalani, you don't want to pregnant again and have another baby you don't want?
What is it with this week and pressuring people to have babies when they don't want to or before they want to? Yeah. Asuelu kind of stepped in it this time. Now, maybe Asuelu just thought, well, it's kind of funny, little encouragement. Or did he do this on purpose because he knew that his family would be on his side? What I'd hope is that Asuelu was like, oh, crap. Yeah, I probably should have done that, particularly since my family is here and now there's going to be a big fight. So if I were Asuelu, I'd do, Mom, sister, stay out of it. I shouldn't have done that. Don't pressure her. Do not pressure her. Not cool. My wife, she doesn't want to have kids. That's fine. Let's see what he says.
9 kids. Yeah.
My whole life's purpose isn't just to pop out 1,000 children. It pisses me off. And the most hypocritical thing of all is that Tammy only has 2 kids. So why are we not bugging little Tam Tam about putting some kids in her uterus instead of talking to me about it?
Yeah, good point. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's it seems to be a fair amount of that argument being made, because Tammy also is being accused, she's accusing the money, and of course you could, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I like the way she phrased Tam Tam, uterus. Yeah.
I think if you are not agree what my son said, son, you better find another wife, please.
Do you want me to go find another woman?
There's a lot of women in Samoa. You will find one that will give you whatever that you want.
That's ridiculous. I told you guys to be on good behavior.
Okay, good. Finally, Asuelu steps in and says, knock it off. So, okay, let's see if Asuelu can absorb the onslaught so that, Kalani doesn't have to.
I am, but that's what you gave her.
I
Didn't
tell you to
give
be
her?
on good behavior.
No, that's what you gave her. She doesn't want to.
This is why I'm worried to bring you down here, because you're not in the good behavior.
You shut up!
So there are times when the behavior from Asuelu's family is so shockingly over the top that you think, are they manufacturing this? But then you see something like that and you think, it looks like this is real, which is very concerning. And you have complaints. People have complaints about Asuelu. He's a man boy, all these kinds of things. Imagine just these 2 topics, the baby topic and the money topic, that is it's been hammered on so many times. But that's just I'm guessing the tip of the iceberg in terms of what this family is actually like. Imagine what Asuelu's been through in his entire life. So who knows? But it just raises questions.
If you are not agree what I'm saying, shut up.
Yeah, you better listen
Why
to
you
her.
tell me you need another baby?
And now we know where Tammy gets her behavior from, right? Before it just looked like, wow, geez, Tammy's like some kind of weird anomaly in this family. Doesn't look like it. Now we see mom, and we can imagine that mom would be on her best behavior in front of the cameras and stuff, and so it could be that Tammy's the nice one in the family. Let's continue watching this train wreck. But it's interesting, when I am in Asuelu and Kalani's shoes, and I have in my personal life, it hurts, of course, to be yelled at this way, but it sometimes helps me. If I was Asuelu, I'd be like, okay, this is so unambiguously unfair that I don't really have to regard it. And because it's the ambiguous situations where you're like, I feel like I'm being mistreated, but is it just me? But this is so clearly unfair. They were telling him to divorce his wife and leave his children. And he said, this is ridiculous. I don't want to. You guys need to knock it off. And then they tell him to shut up. So for Asuelu to be like, wow, okay, I guess this is such a stark example of how unreasonable these people are that I'm 100% sure that this has nothing to do with me.
I'm trying to help you.
I think we're done yelling, because you're not going to get into this house and start yelling at him in his own house and disrespecting him.
I mean, things are so out of whack that Kalani is actually sticking up for Asuelu, which is really quite something. We would never have expected that before, but good for Kalani.
It's my brother.
He's my family now. And he just said if she doesn't want a baby, she doesn't want a baby. She doesn't want a baby.
You caused the trouble.
Did you hear that?
Hey, no! You caused the trouble.
No.
You see?
What the?
So, now maybe Asuelu was just giving a nice hug out the door. It doesn't seem like he's being too violent. Tammy isn't fighting it too bad, but yikes. I mean, yikes.
Get out of, please get out of my house. My house.
Let's go.
Leave us alone. Get away from us. Don't touch us.
I go bring the kids.
Leave us alone. Get away from us. Don't touch us. Leave us alone. Don't touch us. We don't like you anymore.
Come on, let's go. Let's go.
I mean, it's such an unreasonable situation that if you are this family, you have to just say, well, we know this isn't our fault. We knew it wasn't before, but we really know it now. Because sometimes on the show, we'll see people contributing at least, 90, 10% kind of a thing, or 60, 40. But when you have 100%, 0%, you just have to be able to sleep well at night. It doesn't make it any easier. It's still a lot of abuse. It's very painful for Asuelu in particular to be rejected by his family in this way, to have his mom talk to him that way. I don't like you anymore because what? You are rejecting her demand that he divorce his wife and abandon his kids and move back to Samoa, that he doesn't have extra money to give them after being so nice about everything. Now, maybe this is the end, and they can just be like, you know what? Let's just send each other texts at Christmas, and that'll be that. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Thanks for subscribing, for those of you who have, or giving me a thumbs up. Thanks for that, and also hitting the bell and commenting below. The first three things apparently are good for the channel, but the last thing, it's interesting to read your comments. As you know, I read the comments and do a comment reaction video on the weekend. And yeah, so thanks for that, for those who have done that. And take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.